Hi, my name is Julianne, and today I'm going to be doing my top 10 books of 2018. So these are the books that really stuck with me throughout the year, the ones that I just feel spoke to me the most. And then I'm also going to talk about the one book that I hate this year the most. Normally I wouldn't do this, but this is the one that I can't stop thinking about as well, and it spoke to me the most, but in a negative way, and I have to talk about it, and I will be making a full review at some point. As a writer, from the writer perspective, I understand, you know, putting effort and all of that stuff into the book, but I really hate it, and I really want to talk about it, so yeah. Okay. This isn't in any particular order, but I will discuss which book I think is my top favorite of the year. I will do my top book of the year, like, at the end. One of my favorites is Riordan, of course. Well, is he not going to be on the list? Of course he's going to be on the list. It's The Burning Maze, which is the third book in book 3, yes, I am correct. Book 3 of Trials of Apollo. I really liked this book. Like, I really enjoyed this book. It was really fun. First book in the series was okay, and then I liked the second book, and then I really liked this one, even though it had, and then anyways, moving on. It was good. If you want to keep continuing with the PGO universe, it's a great read. I'm just kind of in shock. I keep forgetting and then I keep remembering, and I'm like, and then the end this is super emotional, okay? Like, if you read Heroes of Olympus and you read this and then you're just like, oh my god. Oh my god. There's a lot of things that come together. Like, at the end of one of the Magnus Chase books, Percy mentions that something was going on, like they had, you know, Annabeth was upset about something. You find out why in this book. You find out why. Anyways, gonna move on. This book was awesome. Go read it. So the next book I want to talk about is a book that I read for for Booktubeathon, and that is The Call by an author's name I cannot pronounce. It takes place in Ireland, and every person, like all the kids, they get a call. So they're taken, in our world it's 3 minutes, but when these kids get called away, they're taken to this fairy world. And the fae are not nice, because for 24 hours in their world, they hunt down these children and torture them. And if you somehow magically survive, which is very rare actually, then you, you come back completely fucked up, basically. It's awesome, but it's also really fucked up. And I would love for there to be like an animation for this. Like, oh, it'd be so cool. You know, it's a book that it sticks with you. Like, the things that these kids go through, it's hard to forget. Highly recommend. The third book I want to talk about is, of course, Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Like, you think I'm not going to talk about Turtles All the Way Down? Like, we got a new John Green book. I think it came out last year, but I read it this year. And, oh, it's so good. Oh my god. And I got a signed copy. I had a whole story behind it. Like, I was going up the escalator and I saw a pile of these books, and I saw one on top that said signed copy. So I get to the second floor of Barnes & Noble, and then I run and go back down the escalator, run over to the signed copy and get it. I already have a signed copy of The Fault in Our Stars, so I did not need another signed John Green book, but, you know, whatever. I went into this book without knowing anything, and I kind of really enjoyed that experience. Just know it's contemporary, know it's John Green. Main character is a girl with OCD. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. So good. And you really think I wouldn't talk about his brother, Hank Green, finally writing that book? An absolutely remarkable thing. Oh my god, I was so hyped when this book came out, because, like, he finally wrote a book. Finally, we have a book by Hank Green. It only took like 10 freaking years. I don't even know if it was 10 years, but you know what I mean. Like, it took it was 84 years. Like, it just took so long, and we finally have a Hank Green book, and it makes me so happy because he's a really good writer. Like, holy shit. I did not know Hank Green could write like that. Like, I really enjoyed his writing, and I really enjoyed the story itself. I didn't know anything going into it, and I really enjoyed that experience. I'm not gonna even tell you the genre, because I didn't know the genre, and I really, really enjoyed this, because I thought, because of John Green and the way he wrote, I thought Hank Green's book would follow more like a John Green book, which I shouldn't have thought of that, but I did. And it kind of has that, like, you know, philosophical talking type stuff that they both do, that John Green does, but, you know, you see it on their channel a lot, so you kind of get that in here. But it's really interesting. It's really interesting. I like the messages and everything, and there's going to be a sequel. I didn't even think this needed a sequel, but I'm hyped. I'm not complaining. Like, yes, we're getting a sequel. This book just, it blew me away, and it made me so happy to see this book, and just, I loved it. I love that it's just in my hands. And also, I did go to the Barnes & Noble book club, which was full of old people, and so they didn't, some of them didn't really connect with the book as much as, like, younger people would. Like, you know, just the talk about technology and, like, you know, the being, like, internet famous, like, I don't think they quite understood it as well as, like, somebody who is on the internet all the time. It was interesting to hear that perspective, and it really helped me shape some of the ideas that I had with this book that I won't go into here, but maybe one day I'll make a review or something, I don't know. But it definitely brought in some interesting ideas. Maybe I'll reread it and then do a video about it, I don't know. We'll see. Now, the next book I want to talk about is from my Florida Women's Writer class that I took in, like, earlier this year, and I feel like that happened last year. So I was like, I was looking, I have the whole list of all the books I read, and I'm like, I read this book this year? My Florida Women's Writer class was this year? But anyways, this book is called Swamplandia by Karen Russell. So she's a Floridian, and it takes place in Florida. Hence the Florida Women Writer class. These are my notes through Jesse the reader, bless him. He recommended book darts, which are awesome. I love these things, and they were really helpful for writing the essay because it helped with all my essaying, like finding quotes and everything. But I ran out of them. There's only like 50, and so I started using Post-its, and I never wanted to take the book darts out because I just liked where I marked all the different notes I marked. So I feel like I need to buy new book darts so I can use them on other books. This is a book that really, like, stuck with me. I read it twice, and it just, there's just something about it. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's about this family who lives on this island that's basically like, if you know Billy's Swamp Safari, it's kind of like that, you know. It's just like this place that has a bunch of alligators, and, you know, it's very Floridian, it's very touristy, you know, it's kind of like this park on an island, and people just, like, ferry over to the island, you know, spend the day, see the alligator show, that kind of stuff. I don't know if there's anything else I should say, because a lot of the times I feel like these books are just better going into it not really knowing anything. This is contemporary, but there's this kind of, like, I don't want to say magical realism, I don't think that's the right word for it. Really freaking enjoyed this book. Like, I just think about it a bunch of times. Like, my mind always just goes back to the Swamplandia. Like, there's something I really like about it. I love how Floridian it is. In case you're wondering why I took a Florida Women's Writer class, I live in Florida, that's why I was taking the class. That's why they offered it, and I just love that it was Floridian. I just kind of like these Florida reads. Like, I didn't think I was going to enjoy the class, but I really enjoyed the class, and this book was just excellent. I feel like I need to read it again, so I can make a full review about it at some point. But, I don't know, I just really, really enjoyed this book. I don't know what else to say. It's just, there's just something I loved about it, and if you're from Florida, I highly recommend this book because it's excellent. The next thing I want to talk about is called Meddling Kids. This book was so good. So good. And when I finished it, I was like, I need to go out and buy this book, which I haven't done yet. But I really, really want to buy Meddling Kids. I really want a physical copy of this book. I want to reread it again. It was just awesome. It is like Scooby-Doo, but for adults. It's like the gang grew up. Like, it's not straight on. Sorry, I'm laughing at my joke right now. It's not straight. Read the book, but it's like it's not straight comparison to Scooby-Doo. Like you have your Daphne character and you kind of have your Velma character and stuff, but it's also kind of like you could see that they're not completely like their counterparts. There is a dog, but he doesn't talk. But it's great. Like it's really like Scooby-Doo. Like that gang like grew up and then they find out that they made a mistake in the case. There's something happened on this case and they're still not really resolved about it. So they decide that they need to go back to this town and figure out what actually happened that night. And it's just freaking awesome. Like really, really, really good. You know, if you like Scooby-Doo, you're gonna love this. It's great. I loved it. The writing was awesome. The way the whole ending is, and just oh boy, it's great. It's great. The other book that I read that came out last year, but I didn't read until this year because I procrastinate on everything, it's Artemis by Weir? I don't know. I can't pronounce anything. In my head, it exists in the same world as The Martian. I don't know if that's technically true, but it is to me, so that's what matters. Not the canon, but what I believe. It was amazing. I don't know what else to say. It's just so good. I loved it. I loved the main character. I loved everything about it. It was just... oh, it's so freaking good. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It was just... he's a great writer. He writes science fiction really well. He's like so freaking funny. Like, have you read The Martian? Have you? Because it's excellent. And so this book was excellent, and I'm sorry I slept on it, but I finally read it, and it was awesome, and I loved it. So you should all read it. The other science fiction book that I read that did it come out yet this year, or did I just sleep on it? But anyways, Obsidio by Amie Kaufman and J. Kristoff. Oh boy, I love the ending. It was so good, and they're actually co-writing a new series. When I heard that they were co-writing a new book, I got excited and I thought it existed in the same world, but I don't think it does. But it's so good. I love this book. I love the Illuminati files. Like, oh my god, like they're such a good team, and I just loved everything about it. I want to go back and, you know, listen to the audiobook, but it's great. Oh hey, I just realized I have a bookmark in there. I love this bookmark. Anyways, this is excellent, excellent sci-fi. I love science fiction, and this just was one of the best ones I've read. This is one of my favorite series. Illuminati Files, just go out and read it. And it's so pretty. Like, look at how pretty that is. Like, oh boy. Another book that I read, which I own, and I have no idea where it is. It should be on my bookshelf, but it's not there. It's called This Is Not My Beautiful Life by Victoria Fedden. This is another book I read for my Florida Women Writer class. I actually met this author because she lived in the area. So we invited her to our class and she came. She was really cool. I really liked her book. It is a autobiography, and it's really good. And her story is freaking crazy. Just from the first line, you're just like, okay, this is your life. Like, she's pregnant, and she opens up the door, cops are there, and they're just like going through the house, getting her parents, you know, arresting them. And she, like, it's just, her life is insane, and she's a funny writer. I highly recommend it, obviously, because it's on my top 10 books, but it's another book that stuck with me just because it's so interesting. Like, this isn't a fiction book, like, this is like real life. This shit happened to her, and it's freaking crazy, and you gotta read it to believe it. And the whole story about her going to Costco is like my favorite scene in the entire book. Like, it was just, go read it. Highly recommend it. Before I get into the best book of this year, because I want to leave this video on like a positive note, I will talk about the worst book I read. So the worst book of 2018 for me personally, didn't come out this year, but the one that I read that was the worst was 100% Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. Oh my god, I can't believe how many people rave this book. And then I read it and it was just, and now I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for hating this book because everyone loves it for some reason that I can't fathom. It was torture to sit through, and I was reading it on my phone. I took so many screenshots that I have like 90% of the book I took screenshots of and just highlighted so many things that were wrong with the book, and I will definitely make a review about it. There's so many things wrong with it and so many people love it, and all I can understand is the entertainment value, which, like, yes, some scenes were so bad that they were good, like they were legit funny because of how bad they are, but I just don't understand why people like this book. And that's okay, we can all like what we want to like, but I just don't get this book. I just wanted to mention that I hated this book. Just so I can look back and be like, oh yeah, I read that book that year. I will definitely I will make a full review about why I did not like this book. But I'm just not going to do that now because my battery on my camera is about to die, so I'm just going to hurry up with this video. Now I'm going to move on to the top book of 2018, the book that I thought was the best of this year. My favorite book of 2018 was A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This book was so funny. So freaking funny. I don't want to ruin the joke, but I'm ruining the joke, sorry. I use the term breast prison in my daily life now. I just could not, it was hysterical. You need to read this book. It's so funny. It's a historical fiction. Monty is amazing. Percy is amazing. Felicity is amazing. It's so funny. It's like one of the funniest books I've ever read. Every single page I was laughing. I was showing my boyfriend like the different pages that were like funny, and I showed him like every single page. He basically read the whole book through the jokes, which is on every single page. So yeah, it's so good. It is so good, so good, so good. Can't say it enough. It is my favorite book of this year. I have the companion. I am so excited to read it. But this book was excellent. Favorite book. Hands down, has to be my favorite book of this year. It's the one book that I keep thinking back on. Like, I just always constantly think back onto it. Mostly because I'm using the breast prison line, but it really, like, my mind always just goes back to this book, and I think about how funny it is, and this companion novel was the book. As soon as I knew about that book coming out, I was just so hyped for it. It was like one of the books I was most hyped for. So I really enjoyed that book, and I love Mackenzie Lee. Like, her writing is great. Those are all the books I want to talk about. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye! Anyways, I'm out of breath. Okay, whatever. I don't know time, I don't know numbers, I don't know anything anymore. Drum roll, I guess, duh. No, don't do that. So that's what I'm... Why am I out of breath? What? I just been talking. That's all I did. I just talked. Okay. As we're getting a sequel. I'm so out of breath. What the fuck? An absolutely remarkable thing. No, that's not the name of the book. Plot twist. No, it's my favorite book of 2018 is an absolutely not. Why do I keep trying to say that book? Is that what I really feel like? Is that my favorite book now? Okay, finally done. I'm out of breath. This camera is about to die.